Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things we're talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Today is Wednesday, the 27th of August. So today our sun sign is Virgo. It will be there for the rest of this month, which is only 4 more days, and then for half of next month. Virgo is an earth sign. An earth sign deals with things of the physical realm, the body, the physical world we live in. The tarot card that represents Virgo is a tarot card of the Hermit, which is one who holds a lantern high for others to see the wisdom that was gained. And so the Hermit is a teacher. Therefore, Virgo implies the idea of teaching, of helping, healing others. Our moon sign at the present moment is Virgo, but it's making a transition going from Virgo into Libra. So we're going from an earth sign to an air sign. When you look at the elements, one of the things to consider is whether or not what element it is, fire, water, air, or earth, because that will give you an idea of how that energy is moving. Fire moves. Light a candle. Look at the flame. You'll see it flickers in the wind. Water can stay stationary. You can put it in a bowl. It can stay stationary, but if it stays stationary too long, it becomes stagnant. And we know what happens when water becomes stagnant. Sometimes if it becomes too long in one place, too stagnant, it can start to actually build up bacteria and things of this nature. If the water flows, it has a different way that it moves, a different energy it gives off. We can use the energy of flowing water to do something. When we move to air, air is also something that can either be still or can move. So it is something that, changes on how the energy is used. And finally, earth, the physical world, it's solid. So when you look at these different elements, look at the element itself, fire, water, air, and earth, and that will give you an idea of how the movement of energy is for that particular one. So we know that with a sun sign of Virgo, because Virgo is a earth sign, we know that during the time of Virgo, our conscious mind, which is focusing on the ideas of Virgo, are going to be focused on things dealing with earthly issues, physical worldly issues. Things are a little bit more stable during those times, a little grounded, as opposed to other times when they're in a different position. Okay? So just something minor to think about when you think about all of these energies and these shifts and so on. We're moving into a moon sign, Libra, which is an air sign. So there's going to be some movement taking place in the unconscious mind. And Libra wants to find balance, wants to find justice, karmic justice, wants to make sure everything's balanced out, that the words we say, the actions we take are balanced out by the results that we get and vice versa. Not only that it happens, but that we do understand that that is what's happening. Now prior to that, in about 2.5 hours from now, Venus, love and imagination, is going to be in a lesson with Mars, how we use our energy, the passion, the creativity that we have within us. So that's a good thing. Get that imagination and that passion and creativity together for a lesson, and You can learn a lot of things. Moving from there to our numerology for today. Today it's the number 6. Here's how that was arrived at. 8 plus 2, 7, 27 plus 2014 adds up to 24. 2 plus 4 equals 6. So 6 is our number today. Tarot card of the Lovers. 6 is a number of balance. If we look at the tree of life to see our position right here, it goes from understanding back down to the heart, beauty. That's one placement. However, we have another placement of the number 6 right here in the middle of the tree, in the heart of beauty. So discrimination is the key word associated with this, and it's air, so it's action, movement. Okay, let's take a look, because we know our sun sign is right here. Our moon sign is here, making a transition over to Libra, which is right here. So let's take a look at Libra for today. Tarot card Justice. This key is the center of the tarot pack. It also stands for equilibrium, balance, etc., symbolized by the tidal and the scales. These also symbolize the Hindu doctrine of karma, which literally means action or work. It manifests itself in the form of a law of undeviating justice. This doctrine is expressed in the Judeo-Christian doctrine, as a man soweth, so shall he also reap. In physics, it is stated that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It is the entire appearance of the cause-effect. The two curtains suggest duality, represent balance by their symmetrical arrangement. The throne repeats the pillar and the veil, symbolism of key 2. The circle and the square on the front of the crown refer to the movement of spirit within the material forms. The sword represents discrimination, which closely allies with the idea of justice. Key 11 is the agency through which all forces, represented by the keys 1 through 10, are transferred to the manifesting powers, represented by keys 12 through 21. This cryptic statement deserves a great deal of thought upon your part. You will be rewarded for your effort. So, thing to really look at is this card is right in the deck. So you have 22 major arcana. You have cards 1 through 10. As it says, they transfer their power into the next set. So key 11 is the agency through which all of the forces of the keys 1 through 10 are transferred to the manifesting powers, represented by 12 through 21. So this is an important key, how it really takes the energy of a whole group, 1 through 10 and 12 through 21, how it really connects with all of those energies. Okay, so it's very important, this justice, this karmic balance. Hebrew letter Lamed means ox goad. Libra, Aries. Right, the current moon sign is a sliver, 4%, making our way up to a full moon. The way you can tell is if it's waxing or waning. Waxing means going up from a new moon to a full moon. Waning means going down from a full moon to a new moon. So we know that we're going upward. When we're going upward, it's as if the light is coming on and we are gaining in our strength. And we can see that represented by the moon as the moon gets brighter. The moon is gaining in strength and light. Alright, then the Mayan Oracle. Today is the second day of this new wave spell, the wave spell of the sun, which is all about universal fire, the light that shines upon us, our enlightenment. Today we're at birth, giving birth to this enlightenment. The way we nurture ourselves, the way we look at life and bring these ideas in to our consciousness, to our new understandings. We have the dragon guided by the Skywalker, which is all about exploration, and today is the lunar tone, which is about challenge. So when you think of these numbers, they're always going through the same processes. The number 1 always is gathering, attracting to itself, and then it pulls apart And when it pulls apart and it splits, this is the idea of challenge that is within this number, because now there is a challenge. This number 1, which is now pulled apart into 2 halves, has to learn to balance itself out. And that's one of the things we have to do when we go through life. We have to learn to balance ourselves in many situations. When our consciousness becomes split, when we have divided ideas, we have to learn to balance them out, because sometimes having those divided ideas are good. Sometimes learning both paths are good, and then we learn the balancing act. So today we have the dragon, lunar dragon, guided by the Skywalker. The phrase is, I polarize in order to nurture stabilizing being. I seal the input of birth with the lunar tone of challenge. I am guided by the power of space. At space weather, our solar wind is currently at 318.4 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is up there. We're at a 4, so we've got some unsettled movement going on around us. Coronal holes, we got this one creeping across the middle area here. Kind of looks like a funny looking smiley face, doesn't it? 2 eyes and funny looking mouth. No notice that we're going to get hit by anything from there yet, but time will tell. M-class flare possibilities at 40%. X-class is at 5. Mid-latitude 30% active for the geomagnetic storms, and in the high latitudes 20 is what we're looking at there. And over on the Jewish calendar, today is the beginning of a new month. This is the month called Elul, E-L-U-L. We just came out of the month called Av. So today is Elul, and every one of these days has a daily thought to it. Today's daily thought is friction. It says our souls are the finishing touches of his handiwork. They are plows he applies to the harsh earth so it will absorb rains from the heaven, the sandpaper to grind away the coarse surface of life, the polishing cloth so that it will glimmer in the light from above. That friction that wears us down, those sparks that fly, it is the resistance to this refining process. And if you should ask, how could it be that God's own creation should present resistance to his infinitely powerful breath? Well, in truth, it cannot. But he condenses that breath into a soul. He tightly focuses her power until the harshness of this world can be seen real to her. And then she will struggle, and in that struggle she will make the world shine. And notice in the daily thought here, a little synchronicity. It says these are the plows. A plow is like an ox goad. It's like the idea that was in the tarot card of Libra. Tarot card of justice, about plowing through. So, we have to plow through life. We have to bring up the soil, turn it over, make the changes. We are like the earth. We're nurturing ourselves and growing. So there you have it. That gets us started for today. That brings up UFO news. It's next, so let's get to it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Thank you very much, Dirk. All right, our first sighting takes us to Hephzibah, Georgia. Daytime UFO orb over Hephzibah, Georgia. There's our object in question. New daytime footage of UFO in the sky above Hephzibah, a city in South Richmond County in the U.S. state of Georgia, taken on Tuesday the 26th. The witness says, my husband and I were standing on our front porch when I noticed a ball of light. I've seen them many times, but normally at night, not having a camera in my hand, but this time I finally did. So I magnified my camera on my Moto and Motorola cell phone to catch it. We were both trying to get film at the same time, but I was able to. This is the first time I've ever seen them during the day. Alright, so let's see what we're looking at here. Okay, there we go. Right here. It's 2-minute and 20-second video. Alright, very interesting. Alright, let's move from Georgia. Let's go over to the skies above Niagara Falls, Canada. There you go. Light, same like before. A video of a new sighting of a bright object over Niagara Falls. Odd object flying in the sky and changing directions. I was having a cigarette break at work outside the store and talking with a customer when we saw this and recorded a bit on my cell phone. Just saw this object in the sky. It looked odd because it changed directions and it looked like something was flipping around. It ended up disappearing. Alright, you see it right there. The camera keeps bouncing around. Right here is what we're looking at. There's a bright light that's there. There seems to be another one right here as well. Alright, that's it. A 36-second video. Moving on. Here we have some more crop circles. Let's see, did we look at these the other day? Nope, these are different. Series of crop circles recently appeared in fields across Totnes and Dartington in South Devon. 5 circles mysteriously appeared in 3 neighboring farms, which was the first time since the 90s. A farmer resident in Totnes reported a crop circle on July 18th that was around 25 feet in diameter, which can be seen from the A381 Totnes to Newton Abbott Road and from Paddington to Bridgetown Hill A385. On July 28th, the next 3 crop circles were formed in Dartington. 2 of them measured 15 feet 125 at the opposite end. UFO researcher Abby Dent, who has studied the growth of the crops, said they discovered anomalies in some crop circle formations, such as the crops were bent down in a manner not possible with stomping board and present strong energies on and around the circles. The 5th crop circle appeared on a private Plymouth field, also measuring 25 feet in diameter. Abby said that they detected several anomalies, but would like to investigate further before jumping to any conclusions. They said that they would like to know the behavior of the plant with the damage and detected the plant has alchemical changes which have been found in some mysterious formations. There's no scientific evidence yet to explain how man-made formations were formed. One theory is that the circles were formed by plasma vortex of unknown origin spiraling to the ground from the sky. However, solid explanation is yet to be determined. Okay. Let's move from there. Intense lightning bolt and series of bizarre lights over Pacific baffle pilots. Here we have pilot JPC Van Heist. Last night over the Pacific Ocean, somewhere south of Russia Peninsula, Kamchatka, I experienced the creepiest thing so far in my flying career. Said strange lights had been spotted near the Russian peninsula of Kamchatka. The sighting was made by pilots flying from Hong Kong to Alaska. The glow came about 20 minutes after a vertical lightning bolt was seen. Dutch pilot Van Heist ruled out squid fishing boats as the origin. Speculation ranges from volcano, extraterrestrial base to secret military base. An ongoing investigation is taking place to find out what happened. Alright. Very interesting. So Dutch pilot JPC Van Heist explained on P-Base how 5 hours into the 10-hour flight, they spotted an intense flash of light like a lightning bolt directed vertically up in the distance. This was then followed by a deep red and orange glow 20 minutes later. A pilot and his co-pilot then spotted a mysterious orange and red glow over the Pacific Ocean. The pilot explained that this particular section of the Pacific should be nothing but black ocean with the occasional fishing boat light. He also stated that if it had been the lights of civilization, they would have been white or yellow, but never red or orange. The strange lights were spotted off the Russian peninsula Kamchatka during the flight of a Boeing 747-800 from Hong Kong to Anchorage, Alaska. Very interesting indeed. Well, no explanation has yet been given. Aviation experts believe it could be a huge volcano under the surface. The pilot expressed some concern that if it were in fact a volcanic eruption, it would expose the engines of the 747 to severe ash, which has been known to knock out jet engines. Pilots flew through affected areas without incident. Speculation has been offered ranging from extraterrestrial UFO base to a secret military installation. Time will tell what that is. Alright, let's move on from there. This is Oregon. Strange flashing orb over the skies of Oregon. We've got our night vision going on here. Filmed by Who Took My Mojo. Normally we don't like to post flashing lights in the sky, but this is clearly not a satellite or any known object. It is definitely not terrestrial, so it is an enigma, and it was taken by a UFO hunter that we know to be sincere and honest. The flashes were observed over 2 nights in the Oregon skies. They remain in a general location and sometimes flash brighter or dimmer between 8 to 10 seconds apart. The object flashes or pulses for over a half an hour and shortly, and it is no longer visible. This is a strange one indeed, and one of my friends just reported seeing the same event. He lives about 7 miles away. And one last is a posting about a forum. It says, and this is over at the site latest-ufo-sightings.net. Says, I'm currently developing a forum for latest UFO sightings. You're all invited to go there. Here's a link. It's latest-ufo-sightings.net/forum. It says register, test it out, open your topics, share your thoughts. Right? Always good to have a new place where people can discuss UFOs and those kind of things. So there you have it. That is our UFO news for today. I'll be back momentarily, and we shall continue on. Stay tuned.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Underground is where they live. In the bases that are secretive. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lies? Plausible deniability. That's their answer to all we think we see. So pay attention.
Alright, let's continue on. So one of the things I want to start off with is just a little bit of information about some of the craziness that's going in the world to fool people. Remember years ago when George Bush was the president, and he made that comment. He goes, there's a saying down in Texas, fool me once. And then as he tried to remember the rest of the saying, the best he could do was to channel his own inner Roger Daltrey. You know, fool me once, fool me twice, we don't get fooled again. Well, we've been fooled a lot. How many times do you think here in this country we have been fooled? Probably a great deal. And isn't it strange to watch people continually fooled over and over and over by the same play, same script that's used? And in this particular instance, we have seen enemies of the United States created out of thin air over and over and over again. Unfortunately, this goes back throughout history a long, long way. So when we talk about these other civilizations that have come and gone, unfortunately, they all had elements within them that rose out because greed and corruption snuck into those societies, and here we are, we're no different. So we've got a situation going on that I'm glad that is being brought to light, and it has to do with this organization, ISIS. I've said it before. Others on our alternative media are talking about it. Let me show you this right here. ISIS. This is a website, Public HQ. You can go right here. ISIS is an intelligent network. ISIS headquarters is located in the heart of the Sierra Vista, Arizona, just outside the gates of Fort Huachuca, home of the United States Army Intelligence Center and the U.S. Army Network Enterprise Technology Command. ISIS resides in 3 suites in the Aztec building across the Sierra Vista Mall. Okay, and you can go to the client list here for ISIS, and you can find out who their clients are: U.S. government, Department of Defense, Lockheed Martin, and the places that they operate: Afghanistan, Iraq, and all of the places that we are told that this organization called ISIS exists. Now, I don't know about you, but I know that I have a hard time pretending that the ISIS organization here in the United States, that happens to be out there in the same part of the world where we're hearing about it, I have a hard time saying these are just a coincidence and they're no way connected. Because throughout history, I'm aware of how our CIA and FBI and intelligence agencies have created enemies. It happened with Al-Qaeda when they were fighting the Mujahideen. It's happened since. We can look and see a connection between our CIA and the Nazis. We look and we see the connection with the CIA here in America and the ISI, and then it branches out and you get all the other countries involved. We have a situation that is fooling people around the world, and they keep getting fooled by this. So here I wanted to show you this because this is important. It says here's a video. ISIS exposed 100% of CIA operation. The next bin Laden is here. Don't be fooled. So this is exactly what has been said. It's unfortunate that the mainstream news can't seem to find this information. The leader of ISIS was released from the U.S. custody in Iraq by President Barack Obama during his Iraqi troop drawdown last year. The CIA has organized this ISIS terror group. Then they opened America's southern borders for manpower, weapons, and supplies can be moved into America with no resistance. Then Obama releases Gitmo 5, the Gitmo 5, to join their Islamic brothers and bring jihad to America. As you watch this video, understand that government propaganda in the masses is legal under the 2012 NDAA. Yes, you heard that right. According to the 2012 NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, it is okay for the United States of America to use propaganda against its own people because American people can't handle the information, so they got to propagandaize them. It says America's facing danger beyond comprehension. Mainstream media keeps feeding people an illusion of safety while our own CIA organizes and assists these rebel jihadists. So look, you've seen this enough. How many times do you need to see something to realize, uh-oh, there's a problem? Some people need to see things more. Some people can kind of catch on, especially once you've seen things and you've have seen the same script play itself over and over. So here we are. Fool me once, fool me twice, don't get fooled again. Well, that's not the saying. I believe the saying is fool me once, my fault. Excuse me, fool me once, your fault. Fool me twice, my fault. Fool me 3 times, I'm an idiot. I believe that is the saying. At least that's the one I'm familiar with. And I think that here in America, we're long past the fool me 3 times thing. So we need to step up. We need not to be afraid of all of this. We need to understand that there's an intelligence at work against the people. And there is somebody standing up against it. ISIS chief challenged to biblical Elijah showdown. It says St. Petersburg, Florida is one of the most famous showdowns in Bible history about to be reenacted. An American Christian pastor is taking on the head of the Islamic State terror group known as ISIS, urging him to convert from Islam to Christianity or take part in a modern day whose God will answer by fire showdown reminiscent of the ancient prophet Elijah's challenge to prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel in the Old Testament. It is time someone is calling out these evil tools of Satan instead of cowering in a tent as the army of Israel did when they were taunted by Goliath. Reverend Bill Keller, founder of LivePrayer.com, told WND. Keller sent a personal video message to the head of ISIS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, encouraging him to renounce Islam and accept Jesus. Here's the video itself. You can watch it. It is... I'm not going to play this. I'm going to leave this for you. And there's just more into there. So, look, we've got someone standing up. That's good. We need to stand up to this corruption and to this fear, because that's all it is. And if on a daily basis we're buying into the fear, then we're not finding ourselves having room in our life for the things opposite of fear, which is love, which is positivity, which is all the good things that we have in life. You see, I think we have inherent within us these memories of things like failure, like continents sinking, like challenges in life that we didn't overcome. And I think we have memories in there that keep us stuck. And if we're not able to get past these memories, we stay stuck. I also know that we have the ability, because of the information in this day and age, to be able to get past whatever is keeping us stuck, because we're able to look at history now and see how the same issues have played themselves over and over and over again. So we're going to switch gears back to the story of Atlantis here. And Atlantis was a place that had these kind of problems. It was an idyllic society at one point in time. However, corruption crept into the land. People became greedy. The same problems that we're seeing with weather manipulation are going on right now. Genetic manipulation was going on. Things that were tearing society apart. Wars, rumors of wars, all the same nonsense. So here we are at a point in time where we can either repeat what happened during Atlantis, but I don't want to repeat that. And I know that there are many down here on this planet right now who don't want to repeat that same thing. So what we need to do is we need to focus on how not to repeat that. Part of it is to be aware of what happened in the past so we can change our behavior. And that's why we look to the past, not to get stuck in it, but to see how we might grow and change. And once we can grow and change, well, then we have a different result. So we're going to go back here to our book. This is the Atlantis, the Antediluvian World by Ignatius Donnelly. So we've been going through. Today we're going to hit chapter 4, because we've dealt with the idea of Plato's story, probabilities of it, when it took place. Big question is it possible? Is this really possible? So all that is needed to answer the question of was such a catastrophe possible is to briefly refer to some of the facts revealed by the study of geology. In the first place, the Earth's surface is a record of successive rings and fallings of the land. Successive risings and fallings of the land. The accompanying picture represents a section of the anthracite coal measures of Pennsylvania. Each of the coal deposits here, shown indicated by the black line, was created when the land had risen sufficiently above the sea to maintain vegetation. Each of the strata of rock, many of them hundreds of feet in thickness, was deposited under the water. Here we have 23 different changes of the level of the land during the formation of 2,000 feet of rock and coal, and these changes took place over vast areas embracing thousands of square miles. All the continents which now exist were, it is well understood, once underwater, and the rocks of which they are composed were deposited beneath the water. More than this, most of the rocks so deposited were the detritus of washings or other continents, which then stood where the oceans now roll, and whose mountains and plains were ground down by the action of volcanoes and earthquakes and frost, ice, wind, and rain, and washed into the sea to form the rocks upon which the nations now dwell, so that we have changed the conditions of the land and the water. That which now continent was once sea, and that which was now sea was formerly continent. There can be no question that the Australian archipelago is simply the mountain tops of a drowned continent which once reached from India to South America. Science has gone so far as to even give it a name. They call it Lemuria, and here it is claimed that the human race originated. An examination of the geological formation of our Atlantic states proves beyond a doubt, from the manner in which the sedimentary rocks and the sand, gravel, and mud aggregating a thickness of 45,000 feet are deposited, that they came from the north and the east. They represent the detritus of pre-existing lands, of washings of rain, rivers, coast currents, and other agencies of erosion. And since the area supplying the waste could scarcely have been of less extent than the new strata it formed, it is reasonably inferred that these land masses of continental magnitude must have occupied the region now covered by the North Atlantic before America began to be, and onward at least through the Paleozoic ages of American history. The proof of this fact is that the great strata of rock are thicker the nearer we approach their source in the east. The maximum thickness of the Paleozoic rocks of the Appalachian Formation is 25,000 to 35,000 feet in Pennsylvania and Virginia, while the minimum thickness is in Illinois and Missouri is from 3,000 to 4,000 feet. The rougher and the grosser textured rocks predominate in the east, while the further west we go, the finer the deposits of which the rocks are composed. The finer materials were carried further west by the water. The history of the growth of the European continent, as recounted by Professor Geikie, gives an instructive illustration of the relations of geology to geography. The earliest European land, he says, appears to have existed in the north and the northwest, comprising Scandinavia, Finland, and the northwest of the British area, to have been extended thence through boreal and Arctic latitudes into North America. Of the height and the mass of this primeval land, some idea may be formed by considering the enormous bulk of the material derived from its disintegration. In the Silurian formations of the British Islands alone, there is a mass of rock worn from the land, which would form a mountain chain extending from the Marseille to the North Cape, 1,800 miles, with a mean breadth of over 33 miles and an average height of 16,000 feet. As the great continent which stood where the Atlantic Ocean is now wore away, the continents of America and Europe were formed, and there seems to have been, from remote times, a continuous rising still going on of the new lands, and a sinking of the old ones. Within 5,000 years, or since the age of the polished stone, the shores of Sweden, Denmark, and Norway have risen from 200 to 600 feet. Professor Winchell says that we are in the midst of great changes and are scarcely conscious of it. We have seen the world in flames. We have felt the comet strike the earth. We have seen the whole coast of South America lifted up bodily 10 or 15 feet and let down in an hour. We have seen the Andes sink 220 feet in 70 years. Vast transpositions have taken place in the coastline of China. The ancient capital, located in all probability in an accessible position near the center of the empire, has now become nearly surrounded by water, and its site is on the peninsula of Korea. There was a time when the rocky barriers of the Thracian Bosphorus gave way to the Black Sea subsided. It had covered a vast area in the north and the east. Now this area became drained and was known as ancient Laconia. It is now the prairie region of Russia and the granary of Europe. There is ample geological evidence that at one time the entire area of Great Britain was submerged to the depth of at least 1,700 feet. Over the face of the submerged lands was strewn thick beds of sand, gravel, and clay, teamed by geologists to northern drift. The British Islands rose again from the sea, bearing these water deposits on their bosom. What is now Sicily once lay deep beneath the sea. Subsequently rose 3,000 feet above sea level. The desert of Sahara was once under water and is now burning sands are a deposit of the sea. Geologically speaking, the submergence of Atlantis within the historical period was simply the last of a number of vast changes by which the continent, which once occupied the greater part of the Atlantic, had gradually sunk under the ocean, and the new lands were rising on both sides of it. We come now to the second question. Is it possible that Atlantis could have been suddenly destroyed by such a convulsion of nature as is described by Plato? The ancients regarded this part of his story as a fable. With the wider knowledge which scientific research has afforded the modern world, we can affirm that such an event is not only possible, but that history of even the last 2 centuries has furnished us with striking parallels for it. We now possess the record of numerous islands lifted above the waters and others sunk beneath the waves, accompanied by storms and earthquakes similar to those which marked the destruction of Atlantis. In 1783, Iceland was visited by convulsions more tremendous than any recorded in the modern annals of that country. About a month previous to the eruption on the mainland, a submarine volcano burst forth in the sea at a distance of 30 miles from the shore. It ejected so much pumice that the sea was covered with it for a distance of 150 miles, and ships were considerably impeded in their course. A new island was thrown up, consisting of high cliffs, which was claimed by His Danish Majesty and named Nio, or the New Island. But before a year had elapsed, it sank beneath the sea, leaving the reef of rocks 30 fathoms underneath water. The earthquake of 1783 in Iceland destroyed 9,000 people out of a population of 50,000. 20 villages were consumed by fire or inundated by water, and the mass of lava thrown out greater than the entire bulk of Mont Blanc. On the 8th of October, 1822, a great earthquake occurred on the island of Java, near the mountain of Galunggung. A loud explosion was heard. The earth shook, and immense columns of hot water and boiling mud, mixed with burning brimstone, ashes, and lapilli of the size of nuts, were projected from the mountain like a waterspout, with such prodigious violence that large quantities fell beyond the river Tandoi, which is 40 miles distant. The first eruption lasted nearly 5 hours, and on the following days the rain fell in torrents, and the rivers, densely charged with mud, deluged the country far and wide. At the end of 4 days, October 12th, a second eruption occurred, more violent than the first, in which hot water and mud were again vomited, and great blocks of basalt were thrown in the distance of 7 miles from the volcano. There was at the same time a violent earthquake. The face of the mountain was utterly changed. Its summits broke down, and one side, which had been covered with trees, became an enormous gulf in the form of a semicircle. Over 4,000 persons were killed and 114 villages destroyed. In 1831, a new island was born in the Mediterranean near the coast of Sicily. It was called Graham's Island. It came up with an earthquake, and the water spout 60 feet high and 800 yards in circumference rising from the sea. In about a month, the island was 200 feet high and 3 miles in circumference. It soon, however, sunk beneath the sea. The Canary Islands were probably a part of the original empire of Atlantis. On the 1st of September, 1730, the earth split open near in the island of La Cerota. In one night, a considerable hill of ejected matter was thrown up. In a few days, another vent opened and gave out a lava steam which overran several villages. It flowed at first rapidly like water, but became afterward heavy and slow like honey. On the 11th of September, more lava flowed out, covering up a village and precipitating itself with a horrible roar into the sea. Dead fish bloated on the waters, and in indescribable multitudes, or were thrown dying on the shore. The cattle throughout the country dropped lifeless to the ground, suffocated by putrid vapors which condensed and fell down in drops. These manifestations were accompanied by a storm such as people of the country had never known before. These dreadful conditions lasted for 5 years. The lavas thrown out covered 1/3 of the whole island of Lanzarote. Right, we got a lot more to this article here. So you can see this has happened for quite some time throughout history. So we don't have to be too concerned. If the earth doesn't want us here, the earth will get rid of us. But the idea is for us to live in harmony with the earth. And we're told that if we use our gifts, if we use our discernment, if we tune in with the land, we will understand where we need to be when we need to be. And we're reminded of this through various passages and various sayings that the prophets have left behind in their recorded history. So we just need to kind of get in sync with where we're at. No pun intended. We don't want to sync, but we need to get in synchronicity with what's going on here at this time of the change. So part of all of this now, it's kind of connected all together here. It's all about energy, right? So we look at the energy of every day. We want to look at the energy of our history, because that is a very important part of who we are at this point in time. We need to be willing to change as changes are required based upon what we've learned from history. And as we make these changes, then the way in which we perceive things and the way in which we are perceived by things will also change. So this brings us to this article here. It's an article in 5D. It says change your energy signature. Okay, very important. We live in a vibrational universe, and we are vibrational beings. We are energy beings with consciousness and wisdom of our own. The whole universe is energy, consciousness, and wisdom. As we change our understanding of ourselves and the world around us, our spiritual energy increases. As our spiritual energy increases, we expand our consciousness and our wisdom. Expansion of consciousness helps us to see our presence of immutable universal laws that operate in our world. The deeper understanding takes us closer to our own divine selves. One of the profound truths in the universe is that our world is a mirror. Our world reflects our inner being, our core energy. Moment to moment, we move within an energy band width of our own. This energy reflects in every way our present manifested moment. This core energy attracts circumstances and people into our life that have had similar kind of energy. Through our thoughts, we send out that energy signature to the universe. The universe responds in kind by sending similar kinds of energies into our life without judgment. Energies that are higher or lower than ours cannot come into our life, for the law of attraction is immutable. Universal laws are same everywhere and for everyone. As we change our energy, we change the holographic picture of our world, which in turn changes our world. This is how we create our reality, moment to moment. When we silence our mind, we allow universal energy to flow into us. Meditation is all about silencing the mind. Okay, so very good, very important article. It says here, the easiest way to change your energy is to eliminate as much fear and negative energies from your life. This may involve refraining from hanging around people with lower vibrations, turning off the TV, or even changing your diet to higher vibrational food. I would also highly recommend connecting to Mother Earth as much as possible. Okay, so very important information. We are going through change. We can all see that we're going through change. But change sometimes moves slower. The years go by and we're still going through some of these changes. And we just need to continue to keep the faith, you know. I think on a daily basis people are asking, what is this all about? What are we learning? Why are we still going through some of these same challenges and problems? And you know, we have issues that we deal with individually, but then we also have issues that we deal with collectively as a whole. And we need to learn how to work with both of these. Part of it is learning to be in a state of selflessness as opposed to working from a place of being selfish. And we have got a lot of these issues that we're working out. I think the world is a great place. There's so many wonderful people that are down here on the planet that we just need to learn to really work together. And with so many people, it is part of the challenge, but it's kind of the fun as well, just learning to interact with so many different individuals. It's just all the negativity and the doubt and the fears that get in that really throw things awry. But we don't have to buy into all of that, and that's what the beauty is about understanding all of these things. We don't have to buy into the nonsense. We don't have to pretend that ISIS, that's headquartered in the United States, doesn't have some sort of connection. We don't have to be stupid and pretend that that doesn't exist. We don't have to pretend that we don't know that Obama really doesn't have the ideals of an American because his background isn't. We don't have to pretend that George Bush, was a good guy when we understand his connection, the Bush family connection to the Nazis and Hitler and how they helped them, and we go throughout history. We don't have to pretend to be stupid. We don't have to be stupid. We can move forward knowing that we understand what's going on. We have our eyes open. And just send compassion for those who don't, because there are many who are fooled and many who prefer to be in that state of being fooled. Why? Isn't that a good question we all ask? But one of the answers we always get is because it's easier. If a person doesn't have to think about those things, it's easier. Or sometimes somebody doesn't know what to do because it's too big to believe and look at the issues that are going on. It's too big to look at the corruption that is taking place, the government corruptions. And so instead, people would rather just turn a blind eye to it, not know about it, because they don't feel there's anything they can do. Well, there's lots of things we can do in this world because there's a lot of issues that go on. And it all starts with us going inside of ourselves, connecting with spirit, connecting with that true source of who and what we're about. And when we do, we get in sync with a different way of doing things. It's different than this man-made way, because it's the man-made way that is throwing things off. It's the man-made way that brings the corruption and the greed and all those other things in. Whereas the way that God creates it, if we simply understand the system that is put before us, and we allow ourselves to work within that system, we find that the greed, the corruption, all the things that are holding us back, they go away, because we're living with a different set of guidelines and rules. Peace, love, positivity, things that we all want and all need. All right, that brings us to our message for today. Today's message is from Hilarion and Archangel Michael.
Message from Ascended Master Hilarion and Archangel Michael.
Channeled by Sandy McGonigal, August 27th through September 28th, 2014.
Ascended Master Hilarion.
With the alignment of the Earth, the Moon, and the stars and the planets at this time, the Pacific tectonic plates are under great stress and will continue to seek out places to relieve stress. More fissures will be reported as the San Andreas Fault separates from itself. Meditation on a daily basis is essential to keep your mind at peace during these unstable times. Connect with your inner spiritual guides, your angels and guardian angel, and request them to help you have a peace each day. Find a place in your home that helps you to relax and be calm with yourself for at least 15 minutes at a time. Relax, breathe, ground yourself with your breath. Take a deep breath in and bring it all the way from the top of your head down through to the center of the earth, and then take another breath, and bring the earth energy mixed with your energy back up your feet and out your heart chakra as love to the planet. Practice grounding yourself whenever you start to feel anxiety or depression. Feeling dehydrated can also bring on anxiety, so hydrate yourself with plain water drinking, at least 8 ounces glasses a day or more. Going outside in nature like in a park or your backyard can do wonders for your state of mind. Sweet children of the light, the star-seated ones, awake enough to remember your divine connections to the realms and frequencies of the celestial bodies and planetary systems that make up your soul family of the light. These times ahead are exciting for those of you who have a daily spiritual practice of meditation, a time spent with your angels and guides and with nature. You are the ones that will be the teachers for others now awakening to their own multidimensional abilities. You understand how to use frequencies to heal the planet and help others to join together to make the Earth experience a more glorious adventure for all. Nature is the key to help you to be able to truly function at your optimum level. Not only through the foods you eat but through the beauty that surrounds your home, and where you spend your daily activities. Being in touch with the elemental kingdom of plants, animals, and understanding the elements of fire, air, water, earth, and spirit, you are able to integrate and restore health to your energy fields. Drink water, light a candle when you meditate and connect with spirit. Go barefoot on the grass or on the earth, listen to the songs of birds in the early morning hours as the sun arises, or in the evening at sunset. Breathe in fresh air and practice grounding it with love into the earth, and most of all enjoy the life you are creating with every thought you think. So it is, so be it. Ascended Master Hilarion.
Message from Archangel Michael.
My sword of light can remove any and all energy cords of emotional baggage that you may be carrying around. Request me to cut and remove all cords, and restore you to your highest self. As you begin to carry more angelic light frequencies, your light will begin to awaken others. This awakening is a self-actualizing awakening that takes place on a soul frequency level. Have patience with yourself, for the raising of your personal frequencies requires a surrendering process to many things and people who no longer resonate with you. Like grains of sand running through your fingers, you must let go of expectations of another's actions, and pay attention to your thoughts that you are sending to yourself. Your angels can help lift you up, but you must make the continued effort to stay at that new level or frequency. The ego really has to do with self-judgment and self-criticism. Having goals is great as long as you let of how the outcome will present itself for your highest good. Your guides and angels are always willing and able to help, but you need to have a time for them to communicate with you. When your day is so busy, a quiet moment to check in with your guides needs to be part of your daily routine, like brushing your teeth. Take time to open up to their messages and divine guidance. So often the guides are standing back watching you during the day, waiting for a moment to assist you. Practice requesting a message from them, and after you ask the question, write the next thought that you receive in your mind. That is their telepathic communication sent from your guides to help you. A life that integrates higher wisdom is a more productive, successful, and fulfilling life than one that follows the ego's demands and reactions. Archangel Michael.
Channeled by
All right, very good message. Again, a good confirmation about what's going on. You know, one of the things that is very beneficial to us in change is change brings opportunity, because it means that the way things were aren't going to be that way anymore. And when we look at the world and we look at what is going on, we do see a lot of problems. So with this change, we could see that these problems will not continue to exist the way that they are. We have an opportunity to be a part of that change for the better. And so the more we're able to throw positivity into the mix, the more we're able to look at things from a new perspective, to use our discrimination and our discernment to discern from the things in the past that hurt us to now going to the things that help us, we make a difference in life. And so that's a great thing. So we all are here at this moment of great opportunity in the midst of all of this chaos around us to really create our lives the way that we want, and to really be in synchronicity with the plan that we came forth. Because we all came here with a plan. None of us just showed up without a plan. And all we have to do is get into the place of remembering. And once we do, it makes things a little bit easier, because we don't feel so lost. We feel like we have now a purpose that is very important. All right, that brings us to our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. I want you to imagine all of your chakras are activated. From the bottom of the spine up. Red drawing the energy from the earth. Is at the lower chakra, the base chakra. Above that, at the belly button, we have orange, which is their second chakra, which deals with our emotional body. And the energy raises higher to the chakra above that, just below the rib cage, and there you imagine the color yellow. And this is the chakra that deals with our our intellectual body. And from there, the energy rises up higher into our heart chakra. This is the center of love. Imagine the color green for the heart chakra. And then the energy moves up higher to the throat, and imagine the color blue. This is our center of communication. And then from there, the light goes up higher to just between the two eyebrows to the third eye. This is how we see through dimensions of space and time. And then finally to the crown chakra. And you imagine the color violet. And the light continues on, and as it continues on, just imagine 5 other chakras that the energy connects with as it gets deeper and deeper into the cosmos. And we feel this connection of energy as it flows through us from the cosmos and flows into us from the earth. So feel all this energy, feel all this life flowing through you. Feel all this opportunity of growth available to you as you feel life, for you understand that life is not static. Life is ever changing. So as we get in synchronicity with the change, we find that change is natural, smooth and easy. And as we go through this process of change, We are reminded that we are here on this planet with many other souls who are going through similar experiences as we are, looking to find our way through all of these challenges. So we reach out at this time to our guides, to the guides around us, and we ask silently or aloud, whatever you want, to your guides to bring forth a message that you need to hear today. Ask your guides to please bring forth the wisdom and the information that you need to help your life move forward, to help you move past any blockages that have been in your way, that you might understand the world a little bit better. Imagine sending out love from your heart chakra. Think of the color green, and just imagine this green going all around the planet, encircling the planet over and over in all directions till the whole planet is covered. And just let this love settle into the planet. And as you go through the world today, just let this love be enough. Just think of love, think of the color green, and just imagine this love settling into the planet. And just do this periodically as you go throughout the course of the day. And later at the end of the day, when you sit down to recount how your day went, just think back to all of the moments and all of the change you experience as you just continue to send love. So let the subconscious mind continue sending out that love, and let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is our show for today. Here's an affirmation thrown to your mind. I feel peace and happiness. I feel peace and happiness. So just allow yourself to feel peace and happiness as you go through the world. No matter what goes on, make that the way in which you challenge yourself today. That no matter what goes on, you feel peace and happiness. And see how you can always bring yourself back to that place. Keep the image of the tree of life in mind so that no matter what goes on, you can kind of imagine where you are and then see what you need to do to bring yourself back into that state of balance. Remember, it's all in our mind. It's all a mental universe. So we can use our mind to put it all in the way that makes sense. That's it for today, my friends. I'll be back tomorrow. You have an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving each other. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.